Hello and good morning, YouTube. TFR here. The time is about like 9 a.m. here. So I got up really up and early to film today. It's been a long time since I uploaded. So it's really good to touch base with you guys again. I'm going to be releasing a series of videos for now. The psychology of this particular video is going to be the psychology of fragrance. I'm just going to dive into it, talk about it a bit, what it means, how it's like in this world today, how it's perceived, all that good stuff. And just to start off the bat, especially to touch base, or I guess introduce myself to a lot of people who don't actually really know me. My name is Eddie Lopez, Eddie J. Lopez. My middle name's Jose, but I usually go by either Eddie or Jose in the real world. And I do have a background, a history in fragrance. I worked in two different major fragrance retailers. One, I was the assistant manager. The other one, I was a fragrance lead. The first one was a more niche-oriented shop, which I worked with things like Armand, Fran Tradition, and just random niche brands a lot of people haven't heard of, like Jean Olivier. Just random Frenchies. A lot of them I'm forgetting myself. And then the second one I worked on was where, as you guys know, which is majorly designer focused, which is why my channel is so focused on designers. And I've never been sponsored. I've never been given a free bottle by a company. It's always been purchased with my money. Everything I haven't owned is either, it's through blessings, honestly, blessings and hard work. And I do wish I brought a cup of water with me for this video, because I'm going to be talking a bit, and this isn't going to be a list video, so I hope you guys are okay with that for now. Like I said, I'm going to be shifting gears a bit. I'm going to release a fragrance of, more discussion type videos about fragrance, because as I said, with my background, I got 4 years of customer service experience, answering questions, discussing it, training, and in both companies that I was with, which I'm not allowed to disclose just because, I talked about it with them and it is what it is, so it makes sense. And especially given my controversy in the past, I'm literally not allowed to associate myself with anyone, even my current employer. Which, by the way, I work now as a style advisor, so a lot of people who notice, the fashion aspect of, I guess my attire now, how I've been kind of elevating that aspect too. That's the reason why I'm even working on, one of my dreams is to become a fashion designer. And in that endeavor, I'll release a fragrance as well. And you got to start somewhere, so I'm starting off here. This is my fresh shirt. It's a shirt that speaks your vibe for you. That's my shirt, my design. I do plan to release that sometime in the future, but for now, we're in the blueprint mode. So it's just a lot of things going on, and it's really exciting. And diving into 2020, it's just, especially for you guys who've seen me from the beginning of my channel, it's just crazy how much, growth there is. And for you guys to be there with that, it's a beautiful thing. And I thank you guys so much, especially all those who, supported and watched over me, gave me criticism, whether it was good or bad. I love it. So we're 3 minutes in and I haven't even gotten into the psychology of things yet, and somebody's probably going to comment like, hey, you talk too much. And I promise my videos aren't usually like this. When I'm doing a fragrance video, I will just kind of dive in and start going over the fragrances. But that's not what this is about right now, and especially since recently I hit 2 landmarks. I finally passed 50 videos. This is my 51st video that I'm uploading, this one right here. Not including live streams, but every other video on my channel, they've always been there. I never deleted a video or anything like that. Only the live streams go down. And then my channel's 2 years old now. It just hit 2 years 3 days ago. So that's another amazing thing. I'm so thankful for that. So, thank you guys. And then speaking of uploads, I know I don't upload too much. So I do want to give a really big shout out to a really good reviewer that I know my audience and a lot of you guys will love, even if you're just tuning in. If you're not subscribed to me, that's okay. But definitely check out Mr. Cheap Sense. I'm going to link him in the description below. And it sucks because I wish I could upload so much, but I want you guys to, my audience, to get into the idea of subscribing to multiple people, especially people who put out good content. Mr. Chief Sense is an awesome dude, and he just, he bangs out content. It's a lot of good content he's putting out there, and he goes over a lot of interesting fragrances. He cycles them around. So, definitely check him out, subscribe to his channel, because he's a hard worker, a cool dude, and there's other stuff on there besides just fragrances. And I really like that about his videos, because he'll go into, just general life talks and stuff like that, and it's a more personal feel with him. You know, you feel like you're talking to a buddy. So, you know, real good vibes from that guy. Definitely check him out and subscribe. And, that's what I'm kind of saying. You know, I don't upload so much, so it's great to have multiple sources of people to watch, especially if you're a fragrance lover. So I'm going to be diving into the psychology of fragrance right now, pretty much talking about what it is. So when you're talking about the psychology of something, it's kind of like in sports psychology, you're talking about the mindset, the behaviors behind it. So it even goes down to like wrestling, you know, they'll talk about the psychology in a wrestling match. So some of you guys can understand what I'm going to be getting into when I talk about the psychology of fragrance, because some people are like, what is that? Don't you just splash it on and that's it? Well, it actually gets taken to a lot deeper levels, and especially for those who understand it, you know, it's kind of like pretty much we're talking about the aspect of your sense of smell and the sport around that, because you could look at fragrance as a sport, because that's what it kind of is if you think about it. It's an expression, it's an art form, you know, it's awesome. So this series of videos that I'm going to be launching is to help you guys get a better understanding and grasp of all that. You know, you'll be taking some time, you know, a deep dive into it. However, once you kind of know it, then that's it. You know, you don't have to think about it too much. It's going to become second nature to you, and you would just elevate yourself so much to the point that you could teach it to others. So I do have my little notebook here. I'm going to be going over some talking points, and pretty much so that's what the psychology of fragrance is. You know, the mentality and mindset behind a lot of things, maybe behind a bottle design, a company's bottle design. I want people to consider that, because that's always going to go into like, you know, it's going to break the limits. Like if you think about a fragrance simple like Valentino Uomo Aqua, this is a good example, or even Commodity Rain, those are always going to be perceived, you know, generally labeled as daytime fragrances and such like that. But once you know how to experiment and understand, I'm tripping on words, I needed some water for this video. But pretty much once you understand and get a grasp of how to use a fragrance and how it's going to hit in certain areas and how it's going to be perceived by other people, you know, you break down those walls. So these are fragrances, especially like Commodity Rain or Valentino Uomo Aqua, that at nighttime and especially in like clubs and just crowded, stuffy places, these fragrances come off as so refreshing, because that's what you're doing. You are creating a scent aura around you that protects you and separates you from the overall smell of the atmosphere. And when people come around you in that, like, pretty much just imagine on a typical night, like, if 10 guys are wearing 1 million, like the spiciest fragrance, I didn't bring anything too spicy. But let's say you got 10 guys wearing 1 million and you're the one guy wearing Commodity Rain or the one guy wearing Valentino Uomo Aqua, you are easily going to be the most fresh guy there in the club that night. And just because you understand right now, the psychology is that there's a lot of young guys pouring and drowning themselves in these loud, spicy scents. Nothing against 1 million, you guys know I love that. But it's just that on a mass level, it's commonly overdone. And if you have a grasp of that, then you know how to kind of lead the wave. You know, you're not following the trend, you're doing your own thing, and because of that you stand out. And pretty much I guess that's one way. Like, this video is all over the place because, you know, I will structure and better in the future, because this is kind of the introduction to the series right here, so kind of giving you an idea of things that I'm gonna be going into. So just pretty much, it's crazy how things have changed. The psychology of fragrance now is pretty much, it's always like a competition. Back in the day, fragrance used to be an expression. And this is especially true with the elders, because that's why older people, older generation, they are the type to focus on one signature scent. That's why you have fragrances like 212 and Fahrenheit that are always going to sell. You can say whatever you want about the modern day fragrances. You could say that CH Man Privé, Hugo Boss Private Accord, those are the best fragrances out right now. But they're still going to be outsold by 212 and Fahrenheit and all that crazy, you know, the old stuff. Because you literally got the older generation in masses. And I'm talking about masses that'll make the YouTube community seem small and tiny and irrelevant, that are buying these products. And they're buying them religiously, because for the period of decades, not years, decades, they have been using them, and has been a success to them. People have come to know them, buy that scent. So that's the psychology of that. You know, you guys got to understand that the YouTube spectrum is I guess I don't even know how to word it. It's tiny compared to the real world, out world, and the reality of how it is out there. And it's important to understand this, just because it's gonna come into play with your fragrance game, and especially us in the YouTube spectrum. I am really getting into the idea that we just gotta kind of like work together, talk together, spark discussion, and that's what this video is about too. Sparking some discussion, because it's time for it, man. We're about to dive into 2020, and things are just gearing up, getting crazy on your releases, and it just seems like overall, I guess outside of my community, things are just kind of everywhere. It's all over the place. There's no real censor, no real like one straightforward path of thinking. And in my mind, it's kind of how it should be with fragrance. We should always be experimenting and exploring different things, trying out different things, and keeping connected, staying together, so we could discuss these ideas and experiences, so we could all grow together. So I've really been getting into that. So I am going to be releasing multiple videos following this, and that's going to be kind of the style of content for probably the next month. So I am pretty much saying that I'm going to hold off on list videos for now, and just going to be going over more general aspects. A lot of you are going to really like that, and I promise it's going to be no time at all before I drop another list. And I'm probably going to drop one for the ladies first, because the ladies have been patient, and it's been a long time since I did one for that. But I do got, just to go over some of the videos I'm going to release in the future, I'm going to talk about lowering expectations, how arguing fragrances is pretty much like, I don't know a nice way to put it. Just for now, I'll say arguing fragrances is stupid. Blind buying is not for beginners. It's something that I really want to talk about and get into. Learning your chemistry, like your physical chemistry, understanding what it is, just basically on a deeper level, because a lot of people could, definitely benefit from that. To stop romanticizing fragrance just a little bit on some people's mentality towards fragrances, where they kind of put their hopes and dreams into it. So I definitely want to have a discussion on that. How to cut I'm all over the place. How the common public does not care as much as you do. Like, that's definitely a video that I want to dive into, so that's going to get its own video. How people prefer subtlety, and that's just something I've been preaching a lot in my channel lately. Like, pretty much I could rock a fragrance like Hugo Boss Private Accord was considered a fall winter fragrances. I rocked it this summer. I could rock it easy. And a lot of people would be like, what, how you doing that? And it's pretty much because I'm not spraying it 5 times. I'm not, overdoing it. I'm literally just dabbing it on my palm and gently applying it very lightly, and that's for work. And people appreciate that at work. I smell grown. I'm able to rock a fall winter fragrances. Just a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to, get into later. And probably after that, I'm going to get even, when I'm back to editing my videos, there's some videos that I do want to do with the edits and all that good stuff. And that's going to be, explaining silage or silage as explained in French. Silage is, the scent cloud around you. I'm going to dive into that because a lot of people could, also do with a better understanding of that. I'm going to go into how I spray my fragrances, which a lot of people have asked for. That's probably the #1 thing that people have asked for. How to test fragrances, how to train your nose, your olfactory skills. All this stuff is going to get videos. And this is not even diving into fragrance reviews, guys. So I got a lot of content coming on the way. Chasing the fragrance game. I'm chasing the fashion game. And you guys are seeing the growth. So pretty much this video, it was the psychology of fragrances. We talked about it a little bit. But it's pretty much explaining that the video series I'm going to release is going over the psychology of fragrances. So it was a lot of rambling in this video, but I hope you at least hung out and learned a few things, because I know I'm all over the place, but there were some tidbits of information here and there. So just to wrap up, the psychology of fragrances, once again, it's just pretty much the mindset behind fragrances, how you're using them, how you're wearing them, how the public sees them, how the brand or the niche, house behind it, with their intentions behind the fragrances at release, knowing and how learning and understanding all this stuff helps you in the fragrance game. Because when you understand it to the point that it's nothing to you, it's second nature, then you're just that much more awesome. And I'm here to help you guys get to that point. You guys have helped and supported me for the entirety of my channel. I thank you guys so much once again. I passed 2 years. I know I'm repeating myself so much, but it's just been a long time since I uploaded. I've been busy with work. I've been busy with different projects. I've been busy with family, with life. And, as always, you guys have still supported me all the way throughout that. So much love to you guys. wishing you the best, and I'm definitely leaving a link in the description below to the Instagram, which will have the blueprints and all that stuff, to the fresh shirt if you guys want to see that grow. No pressure at all. I'm not forcing anybody to do that. It's not even on sale yet. And I'm definitely leaving a link below to Mr. Cheap Sense, because he's putting out some awesome videos like every other day, so you definitely got to check him out. So that's it for this one, guys. The next video I'm going to upload, I'll probably put some suggestions in the comments, so maybe you guys can pick the first one. We'll have some fun with that. But for right now, I'm signing off, guys. I'll see you later.